Okay, today's topic that we're going to focus on falls in the internal control chapter of the text, and we're going to be talking about petty cash. And petty cash is something that businesses use for small expenses. For example, let's say that I had a presentation to prepare for this evening and I needed folders. Well, if I went down to the supply closet and there weren't any folders there, then I'd need to run out probably to a local store and pick up some folders. Well, I really don't have time for a check to be prepared, because if my presentation's in about 2 or 3 hours from now, then I'm going to need those folders immediately. So I'll go over to a person, and that person would be pretty much the primary custodian of the petty cash account. And I would get some money from them in cash so that I could go off to a store and get my folders that I need. Now here's what you have to be careful with. You definitely need to have a system of approvals. You need to make sure that there are checks and balances in place, because you don't want cash to be in jeopardy of being stolen or misplaced. So you really want to try to limit the number of people that have access to the actual cash box, and you want to make sure that once someone comes back with the change, that they give you the appropriate receipt and the appropriate amount of change back. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to record these transactions in the journal, just like we would anything else, and we have specific rules that we have to follow. And the rules that we have to follow really revolve around what's called an impressed system of petty cash. So what is an impressed system of petty cash? Basically what that means is any cash that's in the petty cash drawer, box, or safe, however method the cash is being contained, plus whatever petty cash tickets or receipts that you have, that must always equal the value of the petty cash fund. Now, is this always the case? And the answer to that would be no, because you may have a circumstance where cash is misplaced or the wrong change was given. So what you have to realize in that particular circumstance would be that you would have to figure out what happened and really recognize in the journal entries what you were going to be able to have to record. Are you short or are you over? And we'll explore those on the next slides. Okay, so here are some rules for petty cash when you're doing journal entries. So if you follow these rules, you should be able to figure out the journal entries pretty easily. So the only time we're ever going to debit petty cash is when we are going to establish the petty cash account, or when we're going to increase the value of the account. The only time that we will credit petty cash is when the business no longer wants to use the petty cash account, or if we want to decrease the value of the petty cash fund. Here's the golden rule though, and that is you should never debit or credit petty cash when replenishing the petty cash account, because what you're going to do is you'll be putting regular cash back into the drawer, so we'll be crediting cash, not petty cash. So here's the formula of how to get the amount of cash you want to when you're going to replenish the fund. You're always going to take the value of the fund minus the cash that's remaining in the drawer, box, or safe, and that will always be the credit to cash when you're replenishing the fund. So I would always take this step and do this step first. That way you know what your credit to cash is going to be, and you will use that number appropriately and credit that when the time comes for the correct journal entry. In the next presentation, we'll go over a petty cash problem and see how the journal entries work in practice.